Hey guys, this is Chris from Rekkid Talk, and I'm going to show you some of the records that I got at Eddie Hazel Days. So it was the community yard sale, and getting a chance to go to some of the antique stores that are closed a lot. So first, I'm going to show you some albums. So the first couple of albums came from a place called Memory Lane Antiques. And so they had a bunch of old albums. Most of them were like basically non-desirable, cheap ones. They had a few that were a little bit more classic rock that were more expensive. There were three that caught my eye. There was the Triumph Stages, so the live Triumph album was going for 10. It's a double album, but it was too scratched up. What I did end up getting, and this should be on like the unlikely albums for me to have. So this Headpins album, Head Over Heels, from 1985, a Canadian band, female lead singer, kind of AOR hard rock. It's a lot more commercial, slick sounding than I would typically listen to. A bit on the cheesy side. I actually had this as a cassette when I was a kid. Now I have it on album. It was the one that was the best shape of anything that I got. I listened to it, and it's actually pretty good for that particular style of music. I'm kind of surprised that band didn't get a little bit bigger than they did. And then the other thing I found was this Miami Vice 12-inch picture disc. And I don't think it's ever been taken out of this plastic. And the plastic's kind of wrinkled up. The hype sticker's pretty faded. It's not like it's going to be something I'm ever going to play. I'm probably going to gift this to somebody who's like a big 80s fan. If that's you, maybe you should mention it. So we got Jan Hummer with the Miami Vice theme on one side, and then you've got Glenn Fry, You Belong to the City, on the other side. So I couldn't resist getting that. And then the other place I went to, the other place that I got albums from was from an outside vendor. So he had a couple of bins, and as I was starting to go through, some guy walks by and goes, "Oh, of course, the guy wearing the Sub Pop T-shirt," because I was wearing this T-shirt then, is digging through the albums. So the covers, there was some classic rock, some like typical, easy listening old country fare. Covers were tending to be pretty rough, so I was hoping they were going to be cheap. I found out they were 50 cents each. So I got a lot at 50 cents each. So the first we have is the classic Roy Orbison. Except I actually don't have the classic Roy Orbison on MGM. I have the very best of Roy Orbison on Monument Records. So basically the wrong compilation was inside the cover. I think I actually like the track listing on the Monument version, which is the one I actually have the disc of better. So that worked out fine. I put them all through the Hummin' Guru, so there's a bit of surface noise, but it's pretty good for 50 cents. Then we've got some massive ringwear Kansas Mask from 1975. I think this is Kansas's second album. Got this one. This one was probably the best shape in terms of the disc. This one had an original inner sleeve. Then we have the Fifth Dimension by the Birds. And so a Columbia Mono with the little, I guess that's the walking logo there. And again, this is one that looked pretty gnarly but cleaned up and actually plays pretty decently. I mean, none of these are great shape. If this guy had wanted much more than about $1, I don't think I would have bought any of them. And then the one that looked the worst and the one that ended up not coming out as good as the other ones is this Cosmos Factory by Creedence Clearwater Revival. So this one does have an original inner sleeve with it, which is kind of cool, on Fantasy Records. And this is the one that, particularly side 2, there are some scratches on side 2. There's not really a problem with it skipping, but there's a lot of noise, especially on so that the 11-minute version of I Heard It Through the Grapevine, and then the last song, Long As I Can See the Light. Those songs don't sound that great, so that one was probably the miss. But at 50 cents each, I was certainly gambling. And then I'll do another part of the video where I'm going to go through some singles. All right, then I went to a place called the Felix. So they had albums right in front. And it was like right in front of the owner. So I didn't film any of that. That part was looking like it was going to be a strikeout because it was a lot of typical stuff at like $5. And then if you found any classic rock, it was going to be like $10, $15. I saw Molly Hatchet for $25. So everything was being priced more than I wanted. And then I kind of wandered off. There was like a side room. There was a bunch of books. And then way in the back, and it was a place I could actually film. So I filmed a little bit back there. There were some other albums that she hadn't put out, and they basically weren't any good. But there was a big box of 45s back there, marked $1 each. I ended up picking out, I think, 25 singles. I bargained it, so I was basically paying 80 cents a piece. She seemed to be quite happy with that. I don't think she sells her 45s very much. So let me show you what I got. So this is Hank Thompson's Songs for Rounders on a 7-inch EP format. I actually have this on a full-length album. So this was broken into parts 1, 2, and 3. So these 4-song 7-inch EPs, only part 1 was there. The cover's not in very good shape, but I couldn't resist. In fact, let me go get the album to compare it with. Yeah, so here's the EP, and here's the full-sized album. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now let's go back into our little bag of goodies here. And so a couple blind buy-y sort of things. So there's Hal Willis on Sims Records. And I haven't even listened to this yet. As I'm filming this, you got the Creole Rose in When It's Springtime in Alaska. And it's supposed to be sort of country-ish. The guy did some rockabilly back in the day. Worth maybe like a $5. This one, no, it's never been sold. I'm assuming it's going to be country. Gary D. Watley with I Used to Be a Honky Tonk Singer on Sierra Records and Someday I'll Sober Up. Some minor album in California. Maybe it'll sound sort of Bakersfield-y. Maybe it'll sound sort of like Buck Owens. The one that ended up being the big score in terms of Discogs value is this Johnny Horton from 1958. And I like Johnny Horton enough that I'm just going to buy him when I'm getting him for $1 without even looking it up. I didn't even look this one up until I got home. And it's in nice shape, not scratched up or anything. And you got the Wild One on the back, Honky Tonk Hardwood Floor. Looked it up, median value is like $23. There's currently one being sold on Discog, going for $35. It's about the same condition as mine. It's got a generic sleeve as well. If I was going to sell it, I'd put it in a nice generic sleeve. I got this early Buck Owens in a capital sleeve. Excuse me, I think I've got a heartache. I've got a right to know. Did find some picture sleeve stuff. We got a Roger Miller. It Happened Just That Way in a picture sleeve on Smash Records. Another thing that was a blind buy. So this Mercury company sleeve's not in very good shape. I bought it, again, without looking it up. The Happy Organ by Dave Baby Cortez with piano shuffle on the back. It's instrumental. Apparently he was like the first guy to have a big hit with organ music, so it probably sucks. But hey, we got that. What else do we get? We got 5-man electrical band with Signs. I bought this just because it's called Kentucky Babe. It's Bing Crosby with Fred Waring in the Glee Club. Let's show you some picture sleeves. Olivia, Make a Move on Me. So, there you go. A couple Carpenters. This sleeve's in very nice shape. Touch Me When We're Dancing. From like 81, so that has to be very late Carpenters. This one, where the sleeve's not in nearly as good a shape as Superstar, from the early 1970s. And what else do we have here? We've got a Heart, Lighter Touch, and Straight On, so not a super well-known Heart song from 78. Another Call Me by Blondie, pretty clean. Julian Lennon Veloute. Let's see, another picture sleeve. This one's got a lot of ringwear on it, but You Could Have Been With Me by Sheena Easton. Clean Heart and Soul by Tapao. I somehow have never found this one before, but Obsession by Animotion. On the Mercury label, we now have that. I'm a sucker whenever I see IRS picture company sleeves. Our Lips Are Sealed, Go-Go's. This is a double for me. Pretty Mess by Vanity on Motown. Shaka Khan with I Feel For You. A couple Donna Summers. Dim All the Lights. There Will Always Be You. And we've got Hot Stuff with A Journey to the Center of the Universe. Both those on Casablanca. And we got Hot Chocolate with Everyone's a Winner. Some singles for you as well.